It's a very interesting feeling being up in the ring, and you really draw a lot off of the audience's enthusiasm for what's going on up there. You know it's a performance, but you never know what's going to happen within this performance. It's such a broad performance spectacle. You could get anything from a super high-flying, action-packed, hard-hitting match to something a little more technical, a lot of floor work, a lot of submissions, things like that. It's one of those feelings where, you know, every little kid goes around, running around with a cape at some point pretending they're a superhero, and they see this dichotomy of good versus evil played out in a more fantastical setting than just everyday life. And I feel like getting to tap into that in what is effectively the format of a real-life superhero is something that not everybody gets to do. And I didn't grow up watching any form of pro wrestling. That's never something I considered as a legitimate career path. And it all kind of happened when I went to the University of Puget Sound for my first semester, and I was in a circus club. I just started weightlifting, and I happened to meet one of the other luchadors, Ave Rex, who saw that I was working on these skills and thought I might not make a complete fool of myself at lucha training. It's a very, very, very physically and mentally demanding sport, and those are probably the two biggest things. We see a lot of people come to the gym to try it out, and they last one, maybe 2 sessions tops, and are gone. You never see them again. If you're not partially crazy, you're probably not gonna love lucha. I was the first white person. I was not the first person to be raised outside of Mexican culture to come in. So when I started training about 6 years ago, the majority of the group was Spanish speaking and of Mexican background. But as the years progressed, we gradually started getting more and more white folks coming in. Maintaining anonymity is a hallmark of Lucha Libre as a whole sport. Established traditions that's been, Lucha Libre has been going on since the early 1900s. And once the mask became a pretty recognizable aspect of the sport, that was a tradition that's just been carried on through generations and generations of luchadors. Once I got far enough along in my training and Coach Jose actually asked me to wear a mask and become a character, that was a big moment of acceptance for me, and that was something that made me feel I'd been accepted into this family, into the lucha community through my coach, and that I didn't have to worry so much about the fact that I was white, just to try and effectively not be somebody about it's not about conquest. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of learning the culture, being accepted into it, and really respecting it. Lucha Libre has very much been a key portion in my both physical and self-identification development. I've always been more on the side of being a tomboy. I don't care for pink. I don't care for girly things. I've never really been into makeup or anything that's stereotypically female or femme-identified. Lucha Libre really made me develop a strong sense of external personality, because you're on a giant stage. You can't just be some wafy, wilting daisy. And so I had to become a little more bold, a little more outspoken. Honestly, right now in the Pacific Northwest, I don't have to do a lot of educating about feminism because it's a fairly progressive wrestling community, which is a rarity. Especially as you go further east and further south, it becomes more and more and more blatantly sexist. Whereas up here, it's a little more subtle. So it'll be things like people not wanting to book intergender matches, or people booking a women's match and not expecting it to be as technically sound or as exciting as a men's match. So I think I do a lot of dispelling those stereotypes just by my performance in the ring, because they see that I'm competing with men, they see that I'm a technically sound wrestler, they see that I'm not relying on physical attractiveness or being sexy in order to get my character, basically fan support, or to use that as my character.